Good evening, everybody. My name is Jackie Weatherall, and I'll just outline Council's governance rules before tonight's Council meeting commences, and it's about making our meetings a safe place for everyone. During the Council meeting, members of the public cannot address the meeting outside of public question time, must not interject or act offensively, must remain seated, must switch your mobile phones to mute, must not operate any recording device, audio and or visual without obtaining the consent from the Chief Executive Officer at least 3 days prior to the Council meeting, and can display placards or posters provided they're not offensive, do not obstruct the entrances and exits to the chamber or impede any view or person. The Chair can direct any member of the public to stop interjecting or acting offensively. If that behaviour continues, the Chair can ask an authorised officer or a member of Victoria Police to remove members of the public to the chamber. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Weatherall. Item 1, meeting opening. Welcome to the Ordinary Council meeting on the 27th of October 2025. Item 1.2, attendance. Are there any apologies, Ms Weatherall?
Yes, Mr Mayor. We have apologies this evening from Councillor Isabella Doe, Councillor Sean O'Reilly and Councillor Lloyd Trong.
Thank you, Ms Weatherall. Item 1.3, acknowledgement of traditional custodians of land. Those who wish to stand for the acknowledgement to country are welcome to do so. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land, the Bunurong people, and pay respect to their elders, past and present. We recognise and respect their continuing connections to climate, culture, country and waters. And we also pay our respect and acknowledge the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and their elders present here today in acknowledging their journey. Item 1.4, offering of prayer, reflection or affirmation. As part of Council's commitment to recognising the cultural and spiritual diversity of our community, the prayer, reflection or affirmation this evening will be offered by Anita Devine, a member of the Greater Dandenong Interfaith Network. Welcome.
I'd just like to acknowledge that this prayer was written for the trustees of Mary Aikenhead Ministries in their 2025 conference. As pilgrims of hope, we are called to walk with open hearts, to journey with faith, to trust that the path before us is guided by divine love. As pilgrims of hope, we are called to be bearers of love, lifting the weary, embracing the broken, creating spaces where all may belong. As pilgrims of hope, we are called to be voices of compassion, speaking truth in love, advocating for the vulnerable, defending the dignity of every person. As pilgrims of hope, we are called to uphold justice, walking alongside the forgotten, offering mercy where there is pain and courage where there is fear. To be light in the darkness, healing where there is suffering, advocating for peace where there is division, igniting hope where despair lingers. As pilgrims of hope, we are called to teach with wisdom and patience, nurturing minds, awakening hearts, inspiring curiosity and wonder for the gift of knowledge and truth. As pilgrims of hope, we are called to serve with humility, knowing that in the giving we receive, that in the offering we are blessed, that in the caring we are also held. Amen.
Thank you, Anita. Item 1.5, confirmation of minutes of previous meeting. Meeting of Council held on the 13th of October 2025.
Move.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Tan. Second by Councillor Dan. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? There is no opposition. The item is carried. Item 1.6, disclosures of interest. Ms Weatherall.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I've not been advised of any disclosures of interest for this evening's meeting.
Thank you, Ms Weatherall. 2, Officer Reports, Part 1, 2.1, Documents for Sealing, 2.1.1, Documents for Sealing.
Move.
Moved by Deputy Tan,
Happy to second that, Mayor.
second by Councillor Formoso. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? There is no opposition. I declare the item
Mayor?
carried. Deputy Mayor Tan.
I just want to congratulate you, Mayor, for your 20 years anniversary for being a councillor. Thanks for your service and for being Mayor 6 times. Incredible
Thank you very
milestone.
much, Deputy Mayor Tan. Item 2.2, Petitions and Joint Letters. 2.2.1, Petitions and Joint Letters.
Happy to
Moved by
move.
Deputy Mayor Tan, second by Councillor Garrard. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? There is no opposition. I declare the item carried. Item 2.3, Statutory Planning Applications. 2.3.1, Planning Delegated Decisions issued September 2025.
Happy to move,
Moved by
Mayor.
Councillor Milkovich,
Seconded.
second by Deputy Mayor Tan. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? There is no opposition. I declare the item carried. Item 3, Public Question Time. Ms Weatherall.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And our first question this evening is from Philip Lamaro of Dandenong, who I don't believe is in the chamber this evening. And the first question is about the date of installing rainbow stickers on council venues. In August, the Greater Dandenong LGBTQA+ Advisory Committee endorsed a recommendation to install rainbow stickers on several council venues. These minutes were recorded without objection during the council meeting on the 13th of October. Given the strong Community Advisory Committee and council support for this action, could the council please provide a date for the installation? And can I ask Ms Sajari, Executive Director, Strategy and Corporate Services,
Ms.
to
Sajari.
respond?
To you, Mayor. Thank you, Philip, for your question. We are working with the relevant facility officer to ascertain the final position of the stickers or on the facilities that we had as part of the actions through the working group. And the stickers and implementation should be finalized before the next advisory committee, which I believe they are meeting on 11th of November.
Thank you, Ms Sajari. Ms Weatherall.
Our next question is also from Philip Lamaro of Dandenong, concerns unisex toilets in council facilities. For a council that claims to be the most inclusive council in Melbourne, it currently doesn't have unisex toilets in these facilities. This is not compliant with WorkSafe that recommends the installation of a unisex facility here. As this facility is not compliant, can the council please look at the signage and change the disability facilities signage to include unisex? Can I ask Ms Hajari, Executive Director, Strategy and Corporate
Ms. Hajari.
Services?
To you, Mayor, and thank you for your question again, Philip. Council will update the signage for the unisex ambulant toilets to include recommended all gender signages. We will do the review, and this will occur in the next couple of months. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Hajari. Ms Weatherall.
Thank you. Our next question is from Janali Barty of Collingwood and concerns the removal of the Aboriginal flag on council buildings. I received an email this week including a discussion from the Head of Communications and Customer Experience at City Greater Dandenong about the removal of the Aboriginal flag on council buildings. This statement by council claimed the Aboriginal flag on council facilities was noisy. To claim the representation of the First Nation flag as noisy is beyond scope. I'm happy to provide evidence to show this is Council's current view of the First Nation flag at council venues. Can Council please explain why this attack on First Nations people and its flag is happening at Council? Can I ask Ms Sajari to respond, please?
Ms Sajari.
To you, Mayor. Thank you for the question, and I have to say that it came as a big surprise to me. There is no attack on the Aboriginal flag. There is no proposal to remove flags or any other First Nation symbols from our facilities. No one has claimed Aboriginal flag is noisy. Council policy remains the same, as we always have our Aboriginal flags on our council buildings. We are in the middle of preparing our reconciliation action plan. So I please, I highly request that please share with me the information you have which may contradictory to what I'm responding. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jari. Ms. Weatherall.
Thank you. Our next question is from Maria Sampi of Keysborough, who I don't believe is here this evening, and concerns expenses of DMPL and parking meters in Springvale. On the 13th of October council meeting, Mr Sanjay did not answer my question properly that I asked, and I'm going to read the three questions and then Mr Manavasagasavan can respond. Question 1. What is the breakdown of the $6.736 million of expenses spent by Dandenong Market Proprietary Limited, as I'd like it set out in writing rather than telling me where to find it, as it is ratepayers' money and needs to be explained or written more concisely? Question 2. Is Springvale Shopping Centre being included in setting up parking meters, or will the revenue be continually subsidised by the residents of Dandenong as Springvale does not have any parking meters? And the third question, if parking meters are installed in Springvale, will they be coin operated or tap and go? Can Mr Manavasagasavam respond, please?
Mr. Manivasagasavam.
Through you, Mayor. Further to my answer for your question 1, the 6.7 million in Dandenong Market Private Limited expenditure in 2023-24 is broken down as follows: 1.7 million in employee cost, 4.4 million in material and services, including cleaning, utilities, marketing, repairs and maintenance and administration, and $500,000 in other expenses. For your question number 2 regarding the Springvale Shopping Centre parking, the report on expansion of paid parking includes a proposal for paid parking on street in Springvale Activity Centre. The shopping centres within Springvale already have paid parking in place, though these car parks are not managed by council. For your third question, for any expansion areas for paid parking, we will be able to accept payment by cash, card, or utilizing payment apps such as EasyPark and PayStay, which will also be available in Dandenong shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavam. Ms. Weatherall.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And our next question is from Scott Peters of Dandenong, and it concerns speed limits of Hammond Road in Dandenong. My car was hit by a drive-by car while parked on Hammond Road this week. Council have been asked by multiple residents over many years to address the safety on this strip of road. Council has refused to lower the speed limit, install speed bumps or address this issue other than continuing to say they're monitoring the situation. Residents are angry at Council, which continues to ignore the residents' call on their safety and demand their safety issues are addressed instead of being ignored. We are tired of Council telling us they're monitoring the situation but physically doing nothing to ensure our safety. When will Council address this matter by listening to the residents and physically doing something for our safety? Can I ask Mr Manavasagasavam to respond?
Mr. Manivasagasavam.
Through you, Mayor. At this time, due to the lower number of and type of accidents occurring on Hammond Road, it is not eligible for funding under the Federal Black Spot Program or any other streams of road safety funding. Council officers are regularly monitoring the road. Traffic volumes on Hammond Road have significantly increased since the closure of Webster Street. However, traffic speeds have remained consistent. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavam. Ms. Weatherall.
Thank you. Our next question is also from Scott Peters of Dandenong, and it concerns the Dandenong, a proposed Dandenong Market Advisory Committee. As the Dandenong Market and the management is owned by Council, why does the Dandenong Market not have an advisory committee? Can I ask Mr Manavasagasavam to respond, please?
Mr. Manivasagasavam.
Through you, Mayor. Dandenong Market Private Limited is established under the Companies Act with an independent board and management to oversee the operation independently of Council. If you have any specific concerns, please contact the market directly.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavam. Ms. Weatherall.
Thank you. And our next question, which is Scott Peters' last question, concerns opening date of Dandenong Art Gallery. Could the community please receive an update on the new Dandenong Art Gallery's opening date? We residents have been waiting for years for this. Can I ask Mr Manavasagasavam to respond?
Mr. Manivasagasavam.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you for your question and your continued interest in the Dandenong New Art Gallery. The Council acknowledges the community's patience and enthusiasm for this important cultural facility. The Council is currently progressing the procurement process for the appointment of a head contractor, with the construction anticipated to commence in mid-2026 and the completion forecast by the end of 2027.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavam. Ms. Weatherall.
And our next question is from Jacob Dudman Doyle of Keysborough, and it concerns pothole repairs in Keysborough. I wanted to touch base about the pothole repairs. I've noticed that while you're making great progress in fixing many of them, some areas are experiencing issues after the repairs. Specifically, water seems to be accumulating underneath and causing further damage. I'd like to bring the following locations to your attention. Heatherton Road near the petrol station, multiple potholes. Cheltenham Road close to Keysborough Bar and Grill, one particularly bumpy spot. Could you please let me know how to report these issues, especially if they fall under Vic roads? I appreciate any guidance on how to ensure that these get fixed. Thanks, Mr. Manivasagasavam.
Mr. Manivasagasavam.
Through you, Mayor, thank you for identifying these locations. Both are on arterial roads managed by the Victorian Government. You can report these locations using the report and issue form on the Vic Roads website. Urgent locations can be also reported by calling 131170. Our officers will also report these locations to the Victorian Government on your behalf. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavam. Ms. Weatherall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And our next question is from Engses Ung of Springvale, and it concerns illegal dumping at a car park in Springvale Central. As a commercial property owner in central Springvale, I wish to raise an ongoing concern about persistent illegal dumping, particularly of mattresses and household furniture. At the car park located at 241 to 253 Springvale Road near Kelvin Grove, this site has long been a dumping hotspot, primarily affected by residents from nearby high-density apartments, placing an unfair financial burden on a small group of local business owners who must repeatedly pay for waste removal despite not being the source. Despite efforts to deter dumping, including gates and surveillance cameras, these measures have proven ineffective or financially unsustainable. What makes this issue particularly frustrating is that the rubbish is often dumped just centimetres from public land, yet council declines to assist due to a technicality that the waste falls on private property. This rigid approach feels unreasonable given the site's ongoing history as a dumping hotspot. Local business owners continue to receive enforcement notices and threats of fines instead of support. The situation is financially and emotionally draining for those trying to do the right thing. We urge Council to acknowledge the hardship faced by affected businesses and to work towards a fair, practical and sustainable solution to this persistent problem. We respectfully ask, and I'll read the various questions and then we'll respond. Question 1, will Council commit to reviewing its approach to illegal dumping in known hotspot areas, particularly where private commercial properties are repeatedly affected through no fault of their own, and consider policy changes to provide reasonable support for rubbish removal in these circumstances? Question 2, will Council also implement regular education and outreach to nearby Kelvin Road apartment residents, especially during high tenant turnover periods, to promote awareness of council hard rubbish collection services and reduce illegal dumping? Can I ask Mr. Manivasagasavam to respond, please?
Mr. Manivasagasavam.
Through you, Mayor, thank you for raising your concerns regarding ongoing illegal dumping at the car park located at 241 to 253 Springvale Road. Springvale, we understand the frustration and the financial burden this issue places on local business owners, and we appreciate your commitment to maintaining a clean and safe environment. Council acknowledges the challenges faced by the commercial property owners in known dumping hotspots. However, Council does not remove waste from private property. This responsibility remains with the landowner or the occupier, as intervening would set a precedent that is not sustainable across the municipality. We understand this can be frustrating, particularly when the dumping occurs just meters from the public land. For the question number 2, Council currently operates a large range of education programs aimed at reducing illegal dumping and promoting awareness of hard rubbish collection services. We regularly distribute information to properties across the municipality and tailored to the identified issues. In response to your request, we will work with the management of Kelvin Grove Apartments to provide a targeted education and collateral materials to residents. This will include information on how to correctly dispose of waste items and access council's card rubbish collection services. We hope this proactive engagement will help reduce the incidents of illegal dumping in the area. Thank you again for bringing this matter to our attention. We remain committed to working with the community to find sustainable solutions and improve waste management outcomes for City of Greater Dandenong. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavam. Ms. Wetherell.
Thank you. And our last series of questions is from Terry Wilkinson of Keysborough, and it concerns the demolition of squash courts at Dandenong Oasis. I'm writing to ask questions for the upcoming Dandenong Council meeting of the 27th of October and concerning the proposed demolition of the squash courts at the Dandenong Oasis Leisure Centre. These courts have been a valuable community facility used regularly by residents of all ages for recreation, fitness and social connection. Could the Dandenong Council please explain, and I'll read the various questions. Question 1. What consultation or community engagement has been carried out regarding the future of the squash courts? Question 2. What alternative options have been considered to retain or repurpose the facility rather than demolish it? And question 3. Whether the Dandenong Council will commit to meeting with community representatives to explore preservation or refurbishment options? And can I ask Ms Gillies, Executive Director for Community Strengthening, to
Ms.
respond?
Gillies.
Through you, Mayor. Terry, thanks so much for your question. Squash courts have indeed been a really important part of Dandenong Oasis. The centre opened up around 40 years ago. However, it has been in steady decline over the last few years. The last 3 years, it's been under 0.7% of overall visitation for Dandenong Oasis, and that's further declined so far this year. The Dandenong Wellbeing Centre project did involve over 2,400 engagements over 4 separate rounds of consultation. The decision was made a number of years ago not to include new squash courts at the Dandenong Wellbeing Centre, and this was actually shared with the squash community at the time. The 3 squash courts at Dandenong Oasis will remain in place until 2027 when the new Dandenong Wellbeing Centre opens. For those looking to continue to play squash in the area, we would really encourage alternative locations such as nearby Carrington Park Squash Club. And certainly I would be happy to reach out to share more information about other squash facilities nearby to us here in Dandenong. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Gillies, and thank you, Ms Wetherell. Councillors, will move on to item 4, Officers' Reports, Part 2, 4.1, Policy and Strategy, 4.1.1, Glass Bin Implementation Overview. Moved by Councillor Garrard.
Happy to second that, Mayor.
Councillor Yim. Are there any questions?
I do have a question
Deputy
to
Mayor
Mayor.
Tan.
Thank you, Mayor. Just for the benefit of people watching online at the moment, just a question through the relevant officer. So is this a compulsory to have purple bin? And what size of the bin can the resident have? And how much do they have to pay on top annually on their current waste charge? And the other question related to the communication engagement. I'll ask that next.
Mr Manivasagasavam.
Through you, Mayor, thank you for your question. Yes, it is a compulsory service as per the state government legislation. From July 2027, all residents should have 4 bins. And as part of that, council has started implementing that. So all residents will be getting a bin through this process. And also, as in the report, you can say it's 120 litre bins for the residents. And also, we need to work through the costings of that because, without going through the procurement process and understanding a service, we can't exactly say how much it will cost. But our estimation is it could be around $13 per property additional on top of the waste management cost. That's an estimate, but we need to go through the procurement process.
Thank you, Mr Manivasagasavam. Deputy Mayor Tan.
Thank you. My next question regarding to communication and engagement. As we are the most multicultural city in Australia, how many languages are we going to translate to our resident? Thank you.
Ms Sajari.
Through you, Mayor. And that is a very good question. And of course, we have a plan. I believe that the 2 teams are working together, and similar to any engagement that we do, we make sure that it, of course, cover all of the languages that we have in the areas and also the multiple channels. I think I mentioned it before, our big success was through our council plan, which also we use videos, and I believe that the team also to look at not necessarily the usual just the translation, but different avenues that we have for engagement. So there's a big engagement plan, and I believe the reason even the implementation is a bit far ahead, the reason that we are bringing it forward is just to make sure we have enough time for engaging our community and educating our community about this issue, which is definitely a big part of the plan.
Thank you, Ms. Sajari.
Thank you, that's all.
Thank you. Is there any further questions, councillors? Is there any opposition? If there is no opposition, I declare the item carried. Item 4.1.2, Sustainability Advisory Committee, revised terms of reference. Do I have a mover, councillors? Moved by Councillor Dan, second by Councillor Yim. Are there any questions? Councillor Garrard.
Through you, Mayor, my question is, given the terms of reference require a minimum of only 2 meetings per year, can Council explain what meaningful outcomes can realistically be achieved for sustainability and climate action with such limited meeting frequency?
Mr. Mani Vasagasavan.
Through you, Mayor, it's only required a minimum meeting. So, however, once we got the members on board, so we are planning to go through the expression of interest later this year, and also we'll appoint the members early next year. And our intention is to have initial meetings, and also if the committee really wanted to have more meetings, and also the target is we wanted to have targeted meaningful discussion. And if that necessary to add more meetings, we are happy to do that. We haven't set the maximum amount, we only said the minimum amount needs to be done, but any number of meetings can happen depending on the targeted discussion with the committee members.
Thank you, Mr. Mani Vasagasavan. Councillor Garrett.
Realistically, who can initiate further meetings and what is the criteria?
Mr. Mani Vasagasavan.
So yeah, that will come back to me for further discussions, and also depending on the topics and also what's resources required, I will make that call.
Thank you, Mr. Mani Vasagasavan. Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Is there any further questions, councillors? Is there any opposition? There is no opposition. I declare the item carried. Councillor Garrard wishes to abstain. Thank you very much. Item 4.2, Other, 4.2.1, Greater Dandenong Planning Scheme, Planning Policy Framework Translation. Moved by Councillor Garrard, second by Councillor
Happy to second that.
Are there any questions? Question, Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. My question is, can officers confirm that this translation is entirely policy neutral and that no local policy intent has been weakened, removed or altered during the restructuring of the planning policy framework?
Mr. Mani Vasagasavan.
Through me, yes, I'm happy to confirm that. Yeah, this did not weaken any policy frameworks, and also it's actually strengthened most of our works. And also, we've been working with the DTP for 7 years to make the policy neutral.
Thank you, Mr. Mani Vasagasavan. Any further questions, councillors? Is there any opposition? If there is no opposition, I declare the item carried. Item 4.2.2, Parking Fees and Charges, Paid Parking Expansion.
I'd like to move an amendment to the item, please.
What's the amendment, Councillor Milkovich?
If we could have the item 6.4, which refers to Davis Street parking from Cleland Street to Stud Road, removed from the community consultation, please.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor Milkovich. So removing item 6.4, David Street, Dandenong, from Cleland Street to Stud Road near Dandenong Hospital. Second by Councillor Garrard. Are there any questions, councillors? Is there any opposition? If there is no opposition, I declare the item carried. Item 4.2.3, Take a Swing for Charity Golf Day event. Do I have a mover, councillors? Moved by Councillor Dan. Second by Councillor Yim. Are there any questions? Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. Given this is a philanthropic golfing event, can officers please explain why it is the role of local government to provide $10,000 in funding and, in addition, officer support to keep it alive when council's core responsibility is to deliver services and infrastructure rather than financially underwriting private charity?
Mr. Mani Vasagasavam.
Through you, Mayor. You're right. And part of the review process, we identified, now this has been running for many years. Part of our review process, we identified this is not council's core business. And we looked at about transitioning opportunity, and the $10,000 is for a seed funding, for one-off funding that we can offer that to the Chamber of Commerce and also Committee of Sponsors. However, they have rejected that, so we are not funding that, but that's just an offer to transfer the event to the Chamber of Commerce and also the charities.
Thank you, Mr. Mani Vasagasavam. Councillor Garrett.
Thank you, Mayor. Further, if the council becomes a partner, as anticipated, in this event, how can we guarantee no influence over council decisions, including full transparency over who donates and a clear accountability process on who receives the funds from this event?
Mr. Mani Vasagasavam.
Through you, Mayor, just wanted to confirm that council will not become a partner. And that's the reason for this report is we have advised the committee that council will not be partnering with them anymore. And also we wanted them to run this independently. That's up to the Chamber of Commerce and also Committee of Sponsors to make that decision. Council will not be part of this event from now onwards.
Thank you, Mr. Mani Vasagasavam. Any further questions, councillors? Is there any opposition? If there is no opposition, I declare the item carried. Councillor Garrard would like to abstain. We'll move on to item 4.2.4, Council Meeting Schedule 2026. Moved by Councillor Dan.
Happy to second that, Mayor.
Second by Councillor Formoso. Are there any questions? Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. If the justification for cutting meetings is to make time for compulsory councillor training, why would internal training come at the cost of fewer public meetings and fewer opportunities for the community to ask questions and engage with their council?
Ms. Sajari.
To you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Garrett, for your question. The reason for this proposal is not in the first place for the professional training and development of the councillors. Mainly came, as discussed in the report, is that with less and less involvement of the councillor decision in the planning matters that we also expect become more, we see that there is less items on the agenda and it's the opportunity to really have one meeting that look at the matters that we know. So that was the initial kind of the drive or trigger for looking at this option. However, with also the compulsory training development, it was that while we have less items for the agenda items for the public council meetings, what is the opportunity to use one of the Mondays for the professional development, also have, because we expect in one meeting we have more items, then have another CBS of that for Mondays that we have for really have a good conversation around the agenda items, and another one that we can use for the strategic matters, which is the core responsibility of our councillors. So unfortunately these days, with these two meetings in a month, we get less opportunity to really have discussions strategically with councillor, which is really the core responsibility, and we would love to have more time with that. So this proposal is really come from the multiple aspects and the changes in the environment, probably in compared few years back. But I have to really emphasize that, as in the body of the report says, councillor always can reconsider that if really going to one meeting in a month is not helping the councillors and the community, of course we can reconsider that. But this decision is based on the multiple reasons at this stage.
Thank you, Ms. Sajari. Councillor Garrett.
Thank you for that response. It's interesting because for the 5 years I've been on council, we've never struggled to fit in councillor training and head to council meetings. So it's an interesting proposition. My second question is, without a clear definition of urgent, who decides when an extra meeting will or will not be called?
Ms. Ajari?
Through you, Mayor. Sorry, Councillor Garrett, first with your first item about that 5 years. As you know, this compulsory councillor development training came just this year. Previously, we just have the councillor inductions, but now, as you know, with the local government, Victoria has made it mandatory that we have a series of the development trainings for each year that, as you are aware, we really wanted, and we are very respectful of the councillors' time and or the commitment you have outside your being a councillor. So it was really hard to fit it this year, but we know that is ongoing and it's compulsory mandatory every year. So it's just that, as I mentioned, the dynamic has changed in comparison with the last 5 years. In terms of the urgent business, I believe it will follow the governance rules that we have with the urgent matters. And I refer to CEO if you want to add anything else. But in terms of the decision, if you wanted to have any urgent matter for the council meeting, I believe that it follow our governance rules, that how we decide on this matter with the CEO and Mayor.
And can I just add to your comments, Ms. Sajari, and certainly council officers, if there is a lot of business to be discussed, would always ensure that we have an additional meeting. But certainly we can discuss it with the councillors, and if you would like us to write another report later on because you feel that there's business that's not being addressed, we're more than happy to be guided by the council. This is a suggestion that's in line. The majority of councils now are only meeting once a month because changes in the Planning Act have meant that there's less items coming through, and most councils are able to cope really well with once a month. But if it doesn't work for Greater Dandenong and our community, we will be guided by you, the councillors.
Thank you, Ms. Weatherall. Thank you, Councillor Garrett. Any further questions? Is there any opposition?
I object to that.
Deputy Mayor Tan in opposition. Councillor Dunn.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Look, I'm quite agnostic about this proposal, and I can see the merits of both points of views. The proposal isn't about doing less work, which I would anticipate that a lot of the public perception around this would be, but it's more so about streamlining how we can work so that we can continue to focus on what matters most, delivering for our community. The aim of this schedule, in my view, would be to create more space for strategic thinking and long-term planning rather than the constant operation in what can sometimes be a reactive cycle every fortnight. Right now, our schedule alternates between a briefing and a public meeting. By moving to one formal meeting a month, supported by multiple briefing sessions, I believe it can try to open up time for more meaningful engagement, particularly on complex issues which require some longer-term thinking. We trialled this out last month, but in my view, that's not a long enough period of time to really determine if that's effective or not. As mentioned by the CEO, many other councils already do operate on this monthly cycle, and it works for them. Those that have taken it up, every council, however, is different, but I believe we don't know unless we try. The extra space will hopefully give us more time to digest information, consult with the community, and think more about the long-term policy direction that we want to take this council towards. I want to stress, though, that this schedule is a guide, just as the schedule for this year's meeting and the year before that is also a guide. It's not set in stone, and it never has been set in stone. If, say, after a couple of months next year, it's not working, we can try to revise that or revert back to the original format. The flexibility remains in our hands. This is about trying something that can make our system more effective rather than locking ourselves into a rigid structure. So again, personally, I'm agnostic about the change. I think it's worth trying if it means we can deliver better outcomes for our community. It's also a low-risk proposal too. So it's a low-risk proposal with the potential for greater returns. And if it doesn't work out after a while, we can always revert back. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dunn. Councillor Formosa.
Thanks, Mayor. I didn't think this was such a contentious issue, but I think Councillor Dunn has articulated it quite well. I think most public members would understand and appreciate that We all do work hard, and there's a lot involved going on behind the scenes. And even though it may look like we're meeting less regularly, that's not the case at all. And I think some of this compulsory training will also ensure that our good governance from councillors, and that we're all aware of what needs to be done and under strict protocol. I think this will be beneficial to not only the community, but also all the councillors to be better informed and better trained in this capacity. I don't think it prevents any of the public still reaching out to all of their ward councillors and reaching out anytime that they have any issues, and in particular, you know, whether that be using SnapSend Solve, reaching out to us directly, or through our customer service. I don't think this is going to impinge in any way. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Formoso. Deputy Mayor Tan.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm opposing this because right now we do our regular meeting fortnightly, and without the planning permit that coming through to council, normally we finish at 8:30, so it's not a long agenda. I know that some council, they have their council meeting once a month, and if you look at their agenda, sometimes they can stay up to 12 midnight. So it's about building relationships with our CEO, our executive committee. And again, sometimes we have some item that if that's going to be deferred, we have to wait for 1 month to get back. So it's not really flexible for our community as well. If they want to ask questions regarding to some item, they have to wait for 1 month. And this is about, you know, us working together, building a relationship, us councillors, executive, CEO, and about us working together for community. So I don't think, even for without the planning now, we finish at 8:30. So it's about our staff too. You know, they stay here from 9 a.m. If you're going to do 1 month meeting, so you might finish at 12, so they have to stay here till 12 midnight. So it's not fair on them. And, you know, we do have our daily job as other councillor. So are you going to be here staying up to 10 or 12 midnight? It's better for us to meet frequently to ask about the, you know, discuss about issues. So for me, I prefer fortnightly meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Tan. Is there any further speakers? Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. I wish to agree in principle with Councillor Tan's objections. I am concerned that we have been having fortnightly meetings for a very long time, for 28 years at least, I believe. And in that time, we have not found a lack of time to reflect on policy, to set strategic direction, to conduct councillor training. But suddenly, we need more time for all these things. Suddenly, we cannot afford the time we're spending in meetings because we need all that time for focus on strategy and policy. All of a sudden, we are unable to meet our obligations in terms of conducting public meetings because suddenly we need a whole lot more time to focus on other things. And as Councillor Tan rightly said, we haven't had planning items on our agenda for some time, and we still have quite a long agenda. And fortnightly allows people more frequency to ask questions, more contact with councillors, and more ability to see the ongoing machinations of council and the decisions that we make. Councillor Tan is right. Waiting a month to make a decision, particularly on urgent items, is a very long time, and can be too long on some issues that the community are concerned about. I don't understand the sudden need for this. We are told other councillors are doing it. No, other councils are not a greater council in the way that we are. I don't want to be spending 5 hours in a council meeting, as many others do. And I don't think that our community want to be sitting up till 12 o'clock at night watching council meetings either. I don't think there is a good enough reason for this change. I don't think that the benefits outweigh what we lose, which is community visibility and community contact, and I don't support this change.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Are there any further speakers? There's no further speakers. Right, a reply, Councillor Dunn.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, the public platform is important, particularly question time, which will continue to remain. What changes is, of course, the frequency of those formal meetings. not the accessibility that the community will have to their councillors. Residents can still contact us any day of the week by phone, email, or even in person. That doesn't change at all under this proposal. In fact, one could also argue that with more time in between meetings, that provides councillors with a greater capacity to respond to the needs of their constituents and ratepayers as well. Again, this is not set in stone. I'm willing to give this a go. The flexibility, of course, is there for us to revert if we find that after the first couple of months, it doesn't work as efficiently as we'd hoped. But the only concluding message I'd have to say is that this is a low-risk proposal and it's worth trying out at least.
Thank you, Councillor Dunn. All those councillors in favour, please raise your hand. Councillor Dunn, Councillor Yim, Councillor Mehdi, Councillor Legg, Councillor Milkovich and Councillor Formoso. All those against, Deputy Mayor Tan and Councillor Gerard, carried 6-2. We'll move on to item 4.2.5, list of registered correspondence to Mayor and Councillors. Moved by Councillor Gerard.
Second.
Second by Deputy Mayor Tan. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? There is no opposition. I declare the item carried. We'll move on to the next item, councillors. Item 5, notice of motion. 5.1, notice of motion number 13, establishment of a councillor working group, independent culture and support assessment. Councillor Garrard, according to section 4.8.1a of Council's governance rules, a motion must relate to the powers or functions of council. And as such, the chair may refuse to accept a motion which does not comply with the requirement. In my view, as meeting chair, the notice of motion clearly does not relate to the powers or functions of council, and if it is moved at the council meeting, I, as the chair, can and am rejecting it. So I'm rejecting this motion at the moment. Thank you, Councillor Garrard.
Am I able to ask questions, Mayor?
Yes, you're happy to ask a question, Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your decision. My question to you is that in the notice of motion, I clearly outlined the sections of the Local Government Act that compel councillors to act on the information that we have received. And so my question to you is, why are you overriding those parts of the Local Government Act that do require us to act? And why are you making this decision which effectively constrains councillors from acting in their role in maintaining council accountability, also financial, making sure there is financial oversight, and the other many issues that have been identified here? Can you please clarify why you feel justified in denying both a councillor's right to exercise their role under the Local Government Act and the community and those working within the council their right for this motion, this important motion, to be heard?
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. In this regard, it is true that the role of a councillor is described quite broadly in Section 28(1) of the Local Government Act 2020, LGA. However, according to Section 28(3) of the Local Government Act, it does not include the performance and responsibilities of a CEO. As you are aware, according to Section 46 of the LGO, the CEO's responsibilities and functions relatively include to ensuring the effective and efficient management of the day-to-day operations of the council, establishing and maintaining an organisational structure for council, and being responsible for all staffing matters. The notice of motion clearly goes beyond the scope of council's functions and sits squarely within the scope of the CEO's responsibilities and functions. It is wholly concerned with staffing matters, and it is therefore not something which council can dictate. And if Mr. Jari wants to...
Can I just ask one more question? Just about your decision.
Yeah, I'll just get, if Mr. Jari can actually comment as well, further if she wants.
But I think the decision is yours, Chair.
Yeah, I've made a decision. You want more clarification. I'm giving you more clarification if you like.
But can I just ask, why was this put on the agenda in the first place if the intention was to refuse it? And also, clearly it's not just about staffing. So why are you making the decision?
I've explained. I'm not going to debate this any further. I've given you an answer. If Mr. Jari wants to add, she's happy to add if you want. Mr. Jari?
Through you, Mayor. Councillor Garrett, regarding your question around why we didn't reject it and it's in agenda, our governance rules doesn't give the power to the CEO to reject the notice of motion. However, this is the role of the chair to reject the notice of motion. It is related to staff matters. That's why when we receive your notice of motion, which I know I communicate and we had conversation over the phone around that, we knew that it's not in line with our governance rules and the Local Government Act. But at that time, when we received that, CEO didn't have the power based on the governance rules to reject that. However, I believe that we had this conversation because based on Local Government Act, and the role in the governance rule of the chair role, the chair can reject that. And further to what Mayor mentioned around the reasons that we need to reject that is, I understand your concerns and really we had this conversation, really acknowledge that, but this is really the staffing matters. The sections that you pointed out in your notice of motion, of course, is more broadly. However, what you are seeking to be done, it is about the organization and staffs, and I believe is based on the information that we receive, and that information was related to the staffing matter and very operational matter. On that basis, unless you have further information that you would like to share with us, what we receive, Councillor Garrett, is just what you shared with us, and based on that, it is all related to staff matters. Again, very happy to have further conversation, and you have anything that says beyond the staff matters that we should consider. Otherwise, I think, as Mayor mentioned, based on the governance rules and the Local Government Act, this is our position, the council position at this stage.
Thank you, Mr. Jari, for that. And I'm happy to take it up with you, Councillor Garrett, at another time. More than happy to make a meeting, even tomorrow. Thank you for that. We'll move on to item 6, reports from councils, delegate members and councillor questions. Councillor Formoso.
Thanks, Mayor. Welcome back. Wanted to raise 2 issues this evening. Over the weekend, I caught up with Christine Keys at an event, and she happened to mention that they were preparing for the Dandenong Historic Society AGM, which was supposed to occur on the Sunday the 19th of October from 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. at Heritage Hill. And they had booked the venue, and somehow the staff that was meant to open up the facilities didn't do so. So they were left in a very, very bad predicament where they couldn't have their AGM. So Ms Keys has flagged this with council and hasn't received a response. So just wanting to state that I'm extremely disappointed that this has occurred, and if the relevant officer could respond, if not this evening, then certainly in the coming days, and obviously apologise and give an explanation to Ms Keys and obviously the societal group, please.
Ms Gillies.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you so much, Councillor Formoso, for that feedback. That's certainly the first I've heard of that matter, so I'll certainly look into it and contact the Historical Society and Ms Keys tomorrow.
Thank you, Ms Gillies. Councillor Formoso.
Thanks, Ms Gillies. Yeah, she did send an email and made a phone call, but no one's responded as yet, so thanks for that. The second thing I wanted to discuss, Mayor, is that it's with a heavy heart and deep concern that I'm informing the Chamber of the tragic death of 16-year-old Levi Sire. I'm not sure if many of the councillors in the chambers have heard about this, but Levi unfortunately died on the September 24th from contracting meningococcal B. And interestingly, this was just weeks after receiving the meningococcal ACWY vaccine. The B strain, unfortunately, which claimed Levi's life, is not currently included in the Victorian Government's immunisation schedule, despite funded and effective in other states like South Australia, Queensland and the Northern Territory. I met with Levi's mother, Norlia, and she's been supported by members of the medical community, and now with over, I think last time I checked, there was over 19,000 people that had signed the petition who are all advocating for the inclusion of meningococcal B vaccine in Victoria's funded program. Even the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners has echoed this call, stressing that the cost of the vaccination remains a major barrier, particularly amid the current cost of living pressures. So I don't know if you recall, Mayor, but back in 2023, the Victorian government ceased funding PRIME, which is the Program for Refugee Immunisation, Monitoring and Education here in the city of Greater Dandenong. And this, as we know, is a significant public health risk, particularly now city where refugee and asylum seeker communities heavily rely on these services. So PRIME had successfully lifted vaccination coverage from 24% to 84%. Yet its closure has left over 80% of our refugees potentially under-immunised, further straining the primary care system that lacks the capacity and cultural resources to meet this need. So with something like this on the rise, Mayor, I think our community is going to be even more vulnerable than the rest, which is of huge concern. Immunisation is a cornerstone of public health and societal equity. The loss of PRIME coupled with the absence of meningococcal B vaccine funding places vulnerable Victorians, particularly children, teenagers, refugees and asylum seekers at unacceptable risk, Mayor, particularly here in our municipality. So, Mayor, what I'm asking you respectfully is for you to write to the Minister for Health, Marianne Thomas, please, and number one, express Council's deep concern regarding the exclusion of meningococcal B from Victoria's immunisation schedule. Two, that we advocate for the reinstatement of funding for PRIME to safeguard immunisation access for refugee and asylum seeker communities. And three, request an urgent meeting with the Minister to discuss these matters and the broader public health impacts on our community, please.
Thank you, Councillor Formosa. In principle, yes. I'll just get Ms Gillies. She's nodding, but if you want to comment, Ms Gillies.
Through you, Mayor. Councillor Formoso, thank you very much for putting the spotlight on this issue. It is significant, and unfortunately, exactly as you say, the loss of PRIME certainly exposes our community to a greater level of risk in this space. So thank you. I know that you've already done some advocacy, and most certainly we are doing the same.
Thank you, Ms Gillies, and Councillor Formosa, more than happy to.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I'll also be foreshadowing a notice of motion for this matter as well. So thank you. That's all from me.
Thank you, Councillor Formosa. Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. My question relates to a motion that was passed in the last meeting when you weren't here, Mayor, in which we endorsed the committee, as in the LGBTIQA committee. We endorse a committee recommendation that rainbow stickers are installed on primary entrances on the following public-facing council buildings, and we're listed 5. My question is to the CEO. Given that was endorsed and passed, why is it that I have been informed that officers are not only not going to carry that out, but in fact they are in the process of designing a all-encompassing sticker themselves that will cover breastfeeding persons, First Nations people, the queer community, all diverse groups, all persons will be included in this Mandela type design that our officers are currently discussing and will not be implementing the recommendation as stated. My question is to the CEO. What is the role of officers in relation to implementing a recommendation that is passed at council? And my second question is that if they choose not to implement this and to in fact dilute that symbol and create something that they've created a new term for, that is not only disrespecting the community who have fought very hard for this symbol, which, as you know, is a symbol of identity, safety, and equality, and that they will, in fact, do the opposite. They will make this community less visible, which is completely contrary to why that recommendation was made, which was to increase the visibility of the queer community. So I want to actually hear from yourself about what is the role of officers in the implementation of a very, very strictly worded recommendation.
Thank you for your question, Councillor Garrard. As it was only past 2 weeks, I'll give the floor to Ms Weatherall, but I'm sure it's work in progress.
It's a general question.
Ms Weatherall will answer it.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. That's a very good question. In regards to implementation of council decisions, it's important that we implement them as soon as possible and practical. I might ask Ms Sajari, because I am not aware that there is any proposal to come up with any different kind of sticker. Ms Sajari, would you like to answer that, please?
Ms Sajari?
Thank you, Councillor Garrard, through you, Mayor. Councillor Garrard, just to clarify, there is no plan for revisiting the action. We definitely will implement that. And responding that I mentioned to you briefly in the email is that the conversation between the officers is because we have already a number of the stickers on the facilities which represent different groups. It's just exploring is a way that we can come with the ideas that actually we present all of these groups together to say that they're all safe and it is in line with our policy that is inclusive. So it's, to be honest, this is a matter of make it a bit more clear and stronger that we all are together and we are inclusive. At the same time, I have to ensure you that this conversation is happening. However, we already have this conversation that if there is no quick decision for something that all of these groups are happy with, we still go ahead with the rainbow stickers for the facilities that outlined in the minutes. So we still commit to do the stickers on that one. If we cannot come quickly with the decision that comfortable with every members, but at the same time we will have this continuous conversation about that, because having, and the conversation come with that, having so many stickers on one place, probably it not really pay attention as much as we want. It is more about having the stronger message of the inclusiveness rather than exclusion. And that is all came from that. But at the same time, specifically for the facilities that was listed in the minutes, we are committed to go. If we cannot get to the solution, we go with the stickers at this stage for that facilities. But we're still exploring the broader idea to really represent who we are as a council, that we are inclusive and respectful to all individuals. And that the list that you mentioned. I hope it helps, but it's not no plan to not implementing what we agreed on. It's more about enhancing and improving that.
Could I just add that once you've made a decision, just come back to council, just so the council is aware. If it's not possible to follow the recommendation, just to let us know, then we can add that as well. I guess just supporting Councillor Garrard in this, a motion, once council has passed it, needs to be act on. And if it's not or needs to be changed, just needs to come back to council so council are aware of it. And I'm not just talking about this one, but any other motion. So if Ms Weatherall wants to add to that as well.
Yeah, can I just add to that? We will implement the motion as outlined by council, and if officers determine there's other ways to present it in the future, that'll be the subject of a separate resolution.
Thank you, Ms Weatherall. Councillor Garrard?
Yeah, thank you. Because Ms. Judge, I received the email directly from the officer saying that she was creating a signifier which would reflect I think there's 8 different groups to reduce clutter, and therefore would not be implementing. And in fact, if you go to our the doors of the buildings identified, there are in fact no stickers there. I'm not sure why the implementation is problematic, but you know, to show the disrespect to the queer community by diluting or somehow, changing that symbol is really unacceptable. My next question is regarding we've seen the release of the draft maps for high density housing in Dandenong. I believe there's 5 different areas that have been identified. Can I have a response from the relevant officer regarding what does this mean for the community? Does the community have any voice at all in the developments that may occur along these identified areas. Is there any way the community can have input or can oppose or can reshape or have any influence at all in these developments? Or is it the case that in fact the state government has taken all of that away from communities and from council and therefore we will have no say in what happens in these designated areas?
Mr. Mani Vasagasavan.
Through you, Mayor. The department started the consultation on these activity centres. So it is a first round of consultation. So definitely community have powers to sort of provide that feedback to the government. So I will encourage the community members to provide feedback at this stage, and also the state government planning to do the second round of consultation early next year. So this will help the state government to shape up these activity centres. So definitely I will encourage the community to provide feedback, and also we'll work with the state government to shape up that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mani Vasagasavan. Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. Finally, I would just like to acknowledge that Ms. Hanson, our very capable Chief Operating Officer, is leaving us. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge and thank her for her outstanding service to the council. She's one of the most highly respected persons I know. In fact, someone said to me yesterday that both Michelle and her twin sister, who I didn't know you had a twin sister, two of the most capable financial officers in the whole sector, which didn't surprise me at all. In fact, others have said, and myself included, that anything that any response that Michelle gives you, you can bank on it, because you can be very certain that it's correct. It may not always be what we want to hear, but you can always know that it will be accurate and reliable. And so it is with great sadness that I understand this is your last meeting. And I sincerely want to thank you for the years of dedication. I know that you are one of the most hardworking persons in the council, and your contribution to the local community has been enormous. And I wish to thank you for that. And I also wish you all the best in your future. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Councillor Milkovich.
Nothing from me from tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Lett.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have the one event from last week, Sunday. That event is for the anniversary for second year of TV channel. So that is very special for Vietnamese TV channel. They go into the YouTube platform. So it's really important for me because that's one is channel 10 for official channel TV is so closing down. So, but this one is channel TV by Vietnamese. So that means a lot of Vietnamese, they have the boundary of the language. So that's why this one, every single day, they do a lot of view for 50,000 view daily. And for whole year, 20 million view from 2024. So that means is everything about Vietnamese, they direct to our resident is so important. The other things I make the question is the car park matter. So, to be honest, I go around 1 month around Springvale, around their shopping center. I just made the question just for them. Do you agree or do you happy with the parking for free? So they almost 99% they don't like it. And they tell me the story. This is parking fee for 10 years ago. They got the planning, but after that they remove that. So they make the question, our residents say, why they make again. So almost 99% they objection. So my question is, even in our council, a lot of councillors agree with that project, but almost 99% is resident is don't like it. So we still doing that project or we don't do it?
Mr. Manivasagasavam can explain that we are going to consultation. Mr. Manivasagasavam.
No, thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your question. Yeah, if you ask anyone wanted to pay extra parking meters, everyone says no to that. So, but what we are doing through is we are going to do a community consultation in early February, and also we'll work with the traders, and also we need to work through what's the benefit of having your parking meters. And also once we gone through the process, we need to explain around what are the benefits and how we are implementing, what are the free parking would come part of that. And then we'll go through the community consultation on implementation, and then we'll keep you in the loop around what's happening during that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavam.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Tan.
Thank you, Mayor. Firstly, I'll start off with my events I attended to last 2 weeks. Been really busy. On the 17th, I attended the 20th anniversary of Noble Park Art Show with Councillor Dan. It's a fantastic celebration of creativity, community and culture. So I want to congratulate the winners and the artists that feature in the exhibition. From old age, we can see from kindergarten, primary school, all the way up to a senior group. So I want to thank the organisers of Noble Park Community Centre for the incredible milestone for 20 years. Thanks to the artists, the volunteers, the judge, sponsors and everyone involved. That's a great art show for 3 days. On the 18th of October, I attended the 2025 Mid-Autumn Festival and also the 6th anniversary of the JNU, Melbourne Chinese Language and Culture School. So they've got around, at the moment, 126 students, starting from prep to year 12 student. So I just want to congratulate on the 6th anniversary. So the school has made a remarkable contribution, not only by teaching their language, Chinese language, but also building a meaningful bridges across cultures and generation. On the 19th of October, I attended the Women's Health Community Awareness Program, which is hosted by Malayale Doctors of Victoria and the Winpark Chika, so Grand Harsala, Melbourne Inn. So this event is about raising awareness about women's health, sharing knowledge, and most importantly, empowering women to make informed choices about their health. There were a few doctors, physio and chiro present there as well, and a few our community, about around close to 50 to 70. On the 21st of October, I attended the very special centenarian morning tea with Councillor Milkovich, celebration and honouring our 7 residents who just turned 100 to 104 years old. So I think we've got 10 people turn over 100 this year, so 3 couldn't make it on a day. So it was an amazing story. We'll hear from our residents, incredible stories. Also, we learned about their secret to keep them living a long life. So that's included, I want to share with you. So eating less, sleeping not too much, eating healthy, staying close to your family, making you happy. So exercising, participating with gratitude every day, and by giving back to the community. On the 22nd of October, I joined with the CEO and our executive team, welcoming the Honourable Patrick Gorman MP, Assistant Minister to Prime Minister, Assistant Minister to the Public Service, and the Assistant Minister for the Employment and Workplace Relation here in our Greater Dandenong. First time that he visited in Greater Dandenong with Ms. Janet Liu from Victoria State Manager DEWR. So a few more people as well in the meeting. So this is to discuss about the Dandenong proposed 1.5 Dandenong Employment Hub right here in Dandenong. So we discuss about our CGD community background here, local economy as well, and we welcome the funding commitment from the federal government, the employment hub here. So we want to do whatever we can to connect our people with safe, dignified work, especially our young people as well here, to have a better job and better life, so much for them to offer. On the 22nd, on a Sunday in the evening, I attended the citizenship ceremony, so formally witnessed and welcomed 300 new citizens to our city. On the 23rd, I attended the City of Greater Dandenong Annual Children Forum 2025. So we've got students from different primary school, around 25 primary schools across our city. So the forum is about our young residents sharing their ideas to help to build our city. So thanks to the students, teachers and staff for their contribution as well. On the 23rd, I attended in the afternoon, it was my honour to attend the open of the Pura Dairy factory right here in Dandenong South. So the owner, Mr. Adrian Josephine, also mentioned you as well, Mayor. Thanks to you that you picked the right place for him. So it's a huge factory. It's the best cheese factory in the Dandenong South. So I encourage everyone to visit. It's a great place. So just congratulate to their achievement as well. Doesn't happen overnight. So it's been the project's been happened for a long time. On the 23rd of October in the evening, I attended the Cranbourne Cup reception at Sandown Park with Councillor Milkovich. So this, Sandown is one of the Victoria Premier greyhound racing venues, and we've been pleased to have hosted the Cranbourne Cup for a few years in the past, so 3 years. This year will be their last year. So they're going to have their track done in Cranbourne, will be complete by next year. So this industry has supported thousands of local jobs and our regional economy. On the 25th of October, I attended the 100-year celebration for Dandenong West Primary School. What's incredible milestone, the century of learning, growing and sharing generations, young minds right here in our community. So we see a lot of people from that, went to primary school since 1948. It's great to see a lot of people come together. So I want to acknowledge the contribution of the teachers and staff, past and present, and also the student, both current and former as well, for their achievements and story. And congratulations to Dandenong West Primary School, and thanks for everything that they've done for our community. That's all the events. I've got a question, Mayor, to the relevant officer. Just want to thank our staff. Recently, we officially opened the Noah Park Library Locker on the 1st of October. I just want to find out, do we have any data? So how many people have been using it at the moment? Thank you.
Ms. Gillies.
Through you, Mayor. Thanks very much for your question, Deputy Mayor, but also for your advocacy for the library locker. I know it was a long time coming. I don't have any specific statistics. There is an update going in this week's InfoSum for councillors, and certainly we can provide a more detailed update in the minutes.
Thank you, Ms. Gillies.
That's all from me. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Tan. Councillor Yim.
Thank you, Mayor. On Thursday, the 2nd of November, I attended the Cambodian Kids Can Charity Gala Dinner with Deputy Mayor Sophie Tan and Councillor Alice Fung Lek. Cambodian Kids Can is a non-for-profit charity which also opened doors to education and opportunity for young women in rural Phra Vang, Cambodia, whose lives were destined for hardship. Through the homely nurturing sanctuary of Makala House, these girls have the opportunity to be scholars, leaders, and dreamers shaping brighter futures, not only for themselves, but for their families and communities. It opened in 2005 and is located in Phra Vang province and offers girls access to formal schooling, after-school tutoring, and programs focused on building confidence and life skills. It was a lovely night meeting with other people who shared a genuine passion for supporting the charity and the vital work being done at Makala House. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Yin. Councillor Dunn.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I was also quite honoured to be with Deputy Mayor Tan launching the 20th anniversary of the Noble Park Art Show as well, and it's brilliant to see that the event is still going so strongly after these years. One of the highlights of the past fortnight was that I was able to launch the Victorian Darts competition on Saturday morning. A fun fact about me, I am actually quite a big fan of darts. It's a bit of a niche sport, but it's actually something we follow quite closely. And I had no idea that there was a major venue for the darts right here in Greater Dandenong as well, down in Dandenong South in your ward, Mayor. It was a lot of fun. Wanted to just say thank you to the Mountain Dandenong Darts Association for their hospitality, for all the banter as well. I was met with quite a few jeers and heckling after missing the target while launching the event, but we move on. One issue I wanted to just raise tonight is in regards to rubbish dumping on Mile Creek in Noble Park, particularly around the footbridge that connects Briggs Crescent. This has been an issue for quite some time, and I understand that residents can access Naps and Sol, but it still remains quite a hot spot for dumping. There's often it becomes a bit of a bureaucratic headache too, because the water bank is managed by Melbourne Water, so it becomes a bit of a back and forth between council and Melbourne Water. So just wanted to raise that issue again, and just to see if there were any particular plans that we can implement to ensure that the issue becomes mitigated for the future. Just wanted to make a comment regarding the paid parking with some thoughts that are formulated over the last hour as well. I thank Councillor Milkovich for moving the amendment tonight regarding the removal of David Street from the list. This was an issue I was quite undecided on even up until lunchtime today. And I really do appreciate the officers' time and work that had gone into the report. It's a difficult decision because I saw both points of view. On one hand, demand in the area is high, and without regulation, spaces can be taken up all day. But on the other hand, and what really swayed myself was that people don't choose to go to hospital. They're often there for reasons that are unavoidable, making that location quite different from the other three that was on the list. So when the time is appropriate and the issue comes up again for discussion at council, I'd be looking forward to working with the council officers and traffic engineers to see how we can better manage that precinct, because the option won't just be free parking, but now there's a challenge between no parking at all because the spaces are full, or paying $11 in the private hospital car park. The reality is we are in a community that is more reliant on our vehicles, and I think paid parking should be implemented where it is absolutely necessary as a last resort. And for me, David Street just hadn't quite met that really high threshold. One other matter, I just wanted to briefly talk about Greater Dandenong's industrial base, which has been of interest lately, particularly to this council and to myself, especially following the visit of two federal ministers to our municipality, who have both recognised the manufacturing potential of our region. We're not just part of the story, but we're part of a broader picture, which is Australia's manufacturing base. We account for up to a third of Victoria's manufacturing output, and we're home to some major players like Jayco, Nissan, Alstom. They're building everything from RVs to electric vehicles, including some of the trains and trams that members of our use every day. This is really exciting because the industries are growing, but there are, of course, challenges as well. There are jobs in the Greater Dandenong manufacturing precinct, but we see a bit of a gap currently because there are we see that gap between locals who are still looking for jobs but are still yet to find those opportunities right in their own backyard. And further to that, a report from Deloitte mentioned that only about 17% of that workforce is under 30. So these are challenges, but I also see this really as an opportunity for council to be involved in strong local advocacy campaigns, showcasing our region, and to provide employment opportunities for locals that are only a short drive from home. So for us, this means keeping the push for pathways for young people and other job seekers. Things like free TAFE courses, apprenticeships, partnerships with local schools, and TAFEs in the area, making sure that people know these jobs exist, that they are good jobs, and that they're also stable opportunities with lots of movement for upward mobility. So if we get this right, we're not just helping businesses in the area, but we're helping families and young people in our community to find that secure work and making sure that Greater Dandenong and South East Melbourne more broadly stays at the heart of Australia's practice. And I look forward to any more discussions on this topic comes up.
Thank you, Councillor Dunn. Great that you brought that up. This week I'm actually going to the Victorian Parliament with GSEM to meet many members of the Parliament, discuss manufacturing, as this year has been a big highlight of GSEM to let not only the Government of Victoria but also the Government of Australia to know that manufacturing is not dead, and especially not in the southeast. And it was good to read the other day that the Prime Minister actually wants more things manufactured in Australia. So it's great that Dandenong is the heartbeat, I call it, of manufacturing in the country. And Greater Dandenong has actually been pushing really hard. And it's great to have two ministers only visit here in the last few months. But looking forward to the meeting at Victorian Parliament later on this week, and I'll keep you updated. So thank you for what you just shared. Since my last council meeting, I was very fortunate. I always am very fortunate as mayor. You get to hold citizenship ceremonies, and I had a citizenship ceremony. I actually had two of them, where we had 300 new citizens. And I love the slogan, "Welcome back home." And always when you hand over that certificate of citizenship, the smile on the people's faces, just unbelievable. So that's a great experience, and I enjoyed that as well. I also attended the Dandenong South Soccer Club presentation night. I'd like to congratulate Dandenong South on a promotion. This is their third promotion in the last 10 years. I also attended the 100th birthday at Harmony Village, Patsy, who turned 100, but also Council has a morning session where we have a morning tea with centenarians. I know we're in double digits in Greater Dandenong, so it's not a bad place to live and live for 100 years. So I thank our team that organises that every year, and it's great to recognise people who are 100 or over. So it's always nice to meet these people and ask them what's their secret of success. Everybody's got a different story. I also attended the Victorian Afghan Association Network 10th AGM meeting. They do a fantastic job, from holding festivals to looking after new migrants, adjusting in our community. So it's always good to work together with the Victorian Afghan Association Network, and attended their 10th AGM, and they're doing a fantastic job right here in Greater Dandenong. I also attended the Springvale City presentation night. They play from Ross Reserve, which is a fantastic venue there, and wished them well. And they had a not bad year, but they could have improved, and they were telling me they're going to improve next year, so they're looking also for promotion. I also attended the 2025 SEMVAC Children Lantern Festival, which is always a fantastic event, and SEMVAC do that really well. I had a meeting with the LXRP meeting regarding the Webster Street removal crossing. As everybody now knows, the barriers are already been moved, the roads are blocked, and there's a lot of work going on in Webster Street, so please stay clear at the moment. But those works will complete in the next few weeks, and we're looking forward for the underpass opening up the Princess Highway, which is going to be fantastic for that area. I also attended the Saba Local Trader Awards and the launch of the Lunar New Year next year, which is the Year of the Horse, and Saba do a fantastic job, and this was their inaugural year where they acknowledged traders in the Springvale area, which gave me an idea we should do the same in Dandenong, so watch out for that space. I also attended the MAV conference dinner. Thank my colleagues who were there to support me in receiving my 20 years of recognition. I'm not going to say too much tonight. I'm sure there's going to be another opportunity to talk about that more. And also, thank you to Councillor Milkovich for moving that amendment for David Street. He actually spoke to me earlier on today, and I totally agreed. David Street should be off limits. People who attend the hospital already don't want to be there, and they're visiting people who are not well or going there for appointments. So the last thing that we should be doing is trying to charge them and making them pay for their parking. So all in all, I think it's a great amendment, a great motion, and now it's time to look forward to what the community says, and that'll be happening in the next few months. Lastly, as it's Miss Hanson's last meeting, I've been here since your day one, so I've watched you in your role and develop, and as Councillor Garrard said, whenever you do speak and you do comment on numbers, they're always correct. We never, ever have to go and check up on your numbers, and it's a big loss for Council, but we'll miss you, and I'd like to wish you all the best for your future. I know that, and I applaud people who want to go higher in the ladder, and you are doing that. You're taking another step in your career, and I wish you well. And it's great to hear that Greater Dandenong people keep on moving and progressing. And I'd like to, on behalf of the council, thank you very much and wish you well. Please put your hands together. Do you have any questions that will take my notice? Thank you very much. Thank you. Table the questions that will take on notice from the last council meeting. Item 7, urgent business. Is there any urgent business? If there is no urgent business, I declare the meeting closed at 8:28 p.m. Thank you, everyone, and have a great evening.